Hello and welcome to episode 37 of Mathghamhain Morsels. Again, this is going to be in the A Sanguine Start series, and on this episode, I figure I showed you guys how to make one mother sauce in episode 35, so in 37 I'll show you how to make another one. This is of course going to be a fond, which is very, very simple but delicious sauce. And it just involves a handful of ingredients. Some shallots, garlic, and then whatever else you want to have flavoring it. In mine, I'm going to be throwing in some mushroom. Then you'll need some broth, and a bit of your choice of liquid to help in the deglazing. I'm going to be using a good whiskey in order to make a whiskey fond. And then one final ingredient, which is whenever you sear off some meat or roast it up, you end up with these dark brown bits in the bottom of your pan. And that is the secret to this sauce. So I will join you guys back in my kitchen and show you how to make this. Okay, so I misspoke a little bit earlier when I said that the sauce is a fond. Technically the fond is just the little stuck-on bits in the bottom that are absolutely delicious, and they're the secret behind the sauce's flavor. This sauce that I'm making is a bit of a spin on a velouté, or roulette, not sure exactly how to pronounce it, but all I'm going to do is I'm going to be adding in the shallots and garlic into the bottom of this pan. And as I let it go, it's going to start lifting up some of that fond in the bottom. And it is going to start just pulling up all those flavors and adding the flavor of the shallot and the garlic to it, which will get that sweetness of being sautéed. It's fantastic. So, just going to let this dance around my pan for a little bit. Let it start to caramelize a little bit, but really just start pulling up some of that fond in the bottom. Once this has gotten far enough that it looks like it's fairly well caramelized, I'm going to be adding in the mushrooms and letting those get tossed around as well. But I just want to make sure that this bit starts off right. So I have it on a somewhat low temperature, but it is exactly what you want. You don't want to crank it or else you'll have everything get burnt. So here the mushrooms have already gone in, and I'm mixing it around, making sure that those get some coloration on them as well. And as this goes, a little bit of liquid's going to be released, but I'm going to let that mostly cook off, and then I'm going to add some flour into this. A velouté is a blonde roux with a white broth or wine, anything that's almost clear. So chicken stock, white wine, cider, anything like that can make a velouté. The flour is going to allow me to start building up a bit of a cheater roux here, since I'm not doing it the way that I did in the bechamel video. I'm just allowing the flour to coat everything and let some of it cook off. Technically, you don't need to do this. I just like my velouté a little bit thicker, and the flour helps with that. Or rather, I like this sauce. You can do a pan sauce without it. If you're making a velouté, you always need the flour, but you can make a pan sauce without any sort of thickener. I like it because it makes it just that little bit more. So, once the flour has cooked off, that's when my liquids go in. So I'm using two different types of chicken stock. A roasted chicken stock, and then just a really good bone broth. And then I'm also going to throw a bit of whiskey in for some just really nice punchy flavor to the sauce. It's absolutely delicious. This I'm just going to let cook down, and I'm going to keep moving it every so often just to make sure that it doesn't stick anywhere, doesn't burn, and that it stays this beautiful silky sauce. So it's just a matter of stir it, let it cook down, stir it, let it cook down, and you want it to reduce by about 2/3. And, or at least if you like it as thick as I tend to go for my velouté, you cook it down fairly substantial. If you like it thinner, you don't have to cook it down as much, or you can let it come back up with a bit more broth if it gets a bit too thick for you. But I tend to like it so it sticks to whatever I put it on. That's all personal preference, though. This sauce is really easy and delicious. It heightens up a meal. And like I said, it's all about those crispy little bits in the bottom of the pan, because that just really deepens the flavor of the sauce to an absolutely insane and delicious degree. So, this is one of the sauces that I make the most. And just, goddamn, it's delicious. As this goes, it's fairly easy. You can just let it bubble away for a while without having to worry. It will occasionally, if you're using too high of a heat, or if you didn't stir enough early on, somewhat try to break, but this doesn't really break that much because I'm just using a little bit of the fat that was already in the pan. So it's difficult to get the sauce to break. And that's one of the things that makes this amazing. So this is just going to bubble, reduce, become this amazing, silky, delicious sauce that can just be spooned over the meat. I'm doing some nice center cut pork chops with bone in, and it can be spooned over your side as well, especially potatoes or something like that, which I threw in the oven a little bit ago, and it is just delicious. I'll catch you guys up once this is done, and you can see what this looks like as it's over top those pork chops and just tossed through the potatoes that I put in. So I'll see you back at the desk. So one thing I realized I forgot to mention, so I'm tossing it in right now, is as you're stirring, you really want to scrape the bottom of the pan, because as I said, that fond is the secret for the flavor. So you want to get it brought up once the liquids come in. You want to kind of scrape your utensil along the bottom, lift that fond up, and get it into the liquid. You will thank me for the amount of flavor that this sauce has if you do that right. Okay, so here we are, back at my desk. My sauce thickened up beautifully. You can make this as thin or as thick of the sauce as you want. Like I said, I like my sauce a little bit thick, which is why I add that touch of flour. If you want a thinner sauce, you can not reduce it as far, or you can just not use any flour, and it will stay a much thinner sauce. But this, oh god, this is delicious. Mm. Mm. This sauce, oh my god, has a really pleasant, strong chicken and pork flavor, since I used some chicken stock, as you guys saw. And it just plays wonderfully with this. The mushrooms are amazing in it. And that taste of whiskey with the sauce. Oh, it just goes amazingly with the pork. Alongside, I just have some smashed potatoes that I also toss some of the sauce into. This, like I said, is another sort of take on one of the mother sauces. I misstated and I corrected myself during the actual cooking, but I'll correct myself again. Fond is just the little bits stuck onto the bottom of the pan. This is technically a velouté, though this is a rather dark velouté. Velouté is just a roux of some sort, which I didn't make a normal roux. I just tossed the flour in because I already had some fat in the pan. So it gave the effect of taking the time to make that blonde roux like I did for the bechamel and the mac and cheese. But I didn't have to go through that step. And then the other ingredient in a velouté is some sort of white broth, stock, anything like that. You can use chicken stock, you can use mushroom stock. If you have pork bones, you can make a pork stock. Anything like that. Turkey stock. And in this case, some alcohol, some whiskey in mine, or a lot of people just use some white wine. It is absolutely delicious, and it is how you make damn near any pan sauce. It just depends on what type of meat you're using, how you end up deglazing your pan. The sweetness of those little bits of shallot and the sweetness of that garlic is absolutely amazing in this. But so I'm not just eating in front of all of you guys for the rest of this video. I'll leave off here and leave off with my normal instructions of try new things, try different flavors, have fun cooking, explore your palate, explore different combinations, and just enjoy your food, enjoy your life. And with that, have a good one all.